Hello, good morning, good afternoon, welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Uwe Kerkman. Uwe is the Managing Director of H2UB, which is an innovative platform for startups in the hydrogen space. So welcome, Uwe. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much, Nadim. It's a pleasure to be here.
So maybe if you could start with your own sort of brief biography and your own background, and also to how did H2UB come about, and where did the idea come from?
Yeah, thank you. So I've been working as an economic development person for a couple of years, for many years, in public service in Germany. And my focus topics always were how to deal with innovation, how to foster innovation, how to promote cooperation between young companies, startups, and corporates in different sectors. And the topic of sustainability, the topic of energy transition, the topic of industry transformation has become more and more important. So at a certain point, it was a very logical step for me to enter the energy and hydrogen world. And here I am as the CEO of H2UB. H2UB is a project we have been beginning end of 2021. And it is a project partly funded by a regional German government, by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, and partly funded by big corporations and big SMEs in Germany and Europe. And the aim of H2UB is to support European hydrogen startups to get closer to the market that is still ramping up, to get in contact with each other, to get in contact with corporates. And H2UB is supporting the startups with these kind of connecting and networking opportunities, with peer-to-peer exchange, and especially with an acceleration program that enables the startups to get very individual support and help by fostering their innovation and bringing their company to the next stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously an important area, I guess, around innovation. Hydrogen is clearly still in the early phases. And I guess it's probably quite a tough area for companies to work in. What are some of the challenges that you see some of the startups are facing in the area?
Well, you mentioned the biggest challenge. The market is still very young. It is a market, by the way, that is, in contrast to many other innovation fields, basically designed by politics. So the hydrogen market is, from our perspective, designed by political decisions, by climate protection goals, by timelines that are set by European and global policymakers. So it is a ramping up market. And in these kind of markets, it's very hard for newcomers, for small companies to be part of the game, to get established. So what we are trying to do is to connect startups with corporations who, by the way, have the same challenges to face this upcoming market, to find their position there, to build big projects that will be needed. So the challenge for startups is to be part of the game. And since it is not kind of a long time evolving market, we see that many startups are still very young, in a very early stage, like pre-seed, seed, or Series A stage. And this is the group that we are focusing and that we are supporting with our program.
Yeah, and what does the program involve in terms of sort of practical help?
Well, we have acceleration programs, as I said. It's the H2UB Sprint. It is a 10-week sprint where up to 5 startups from all over Europe get the chance to get a very individual, compact, and very focused coaching on their product, on their idea, on their business model. And it involves industrial expertise and mentors. And this is very important for us, that we do not have a one-fits-all program, but that we can address startups and their innovation very individually. This is important because the value chain in hydrogen is quite long. So we have startups dealing with the production of hydrogen, with distribution and storage, and also with the use of hydrogen in different industries. So for us, it's really important that all those startups get a very individual coaching, a very individual support. And this is the main program we are doing. We just onboarded 5 great startups for sprint number 4 in September, and finalizing the sprint at the European Hydrogen Week in Brussels with a big pitch event. So we try to give them, the startups, a big European stage.
Yeah.
This is one program, and the other programs are we visit events together, we make delegation tours to trade fairs or congresses in order to enable peer-to-peer communication, which is very important because the group of hydrogen startups in Europe is quite small. So it's roughly 400 startups dealing with hydrogen in Europe. That's not a big number. So, and that leads, of course, to the situation that you have like 20 startups in a certain region in Germany and a couple of startups in Sweden, a couple of startups in Spain. So one of the benefits of our hub is that we bring them together and do something together. And other programs, of course, include the opportunity to talk to corporates, to be visible, to give pitches at professional corporate events. And so we are trying on a very, as I said, individual level to make the most of it for the individual startup in order to make them more successful.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. I mean, and have you got any examples of some specific companies that you're working with? Or the technology that they're working with as well?
Yeah. So the startups are really targeting all the different areas of the value chain. We have startups, of course, working in electrolyzing or in electrolysis. They are working on new stacks, new types of stacks. They are working on chemical materials within stacks and fuel cells. Then we have startups working with distribution of hydrogen, sensoring of hydrogen, even certificates of origin for hydrogen, which will be very important in a European and global context, because we need to address this topic of that certain qualities of hydrogen will be subsidized and other qualities might be not. So we have a startup, for example, Point 12, a startup from Germany in Munich. They are addressing this certification topic. Then we have sensoring startups from Israel, FastSense, for example. And we also have startups like Greenlight in Essen here in Germany. They are doing direct air capture in combination with water electrolysis. So it's a huge variety of companies, from digital startups to deep tech startups to manufacturing startups. And this makes it really interesting to work with this kind of like widespread ideas along a very intensive and long value chain.
Yeah, certainly sounds some interesting ideas you just mentioned there, and I guess from I mean the path for innovation and I guess technology development in this area is as you mentioned, introducing these startups to some of the larger corporates who I guess view this as sort of outsourced R&D, is it well? Is that the kind of relationship in terms of looking for strategic investors and companies that are looking basically to buy that IP and are looking for good ideas, and as those ideas become more mature, they get swallowed by some of the larger companies?
This might be the case, actually, because an MIT study shows that more and more big corporations around the world are looking into startups for innovative ideas, innovative services and products. It really shifts from like corporate R&D to working with or investing in startups. So I think you are right, especially in hydrogen, where we have a lot of innovation that is doing substitution of energy carriers, that is supporting transformation of existing industries. So we have a lot of innovation that is complementary to processes that are already there. So many corporates are looking into startups, working with startups, and the interest in getting connected to startups in the hydrogen world is really increasing. So we see it, for example, we had a big venue in Essen, the Hydroverse convention for the first time, and there were 350 interested parties from startups, from corporates, from all over Europe in a very intensive professional atmosphere. It was not like a happening, and it is really about working together, but it's also, of course, about finding the right partner, because it is difficult to identify the startups. This is what we are trying to do, to make them visible, to give them a stage, to make them be like present in these professional contexts. And then it is the goal even of the startups to get in touch with those corporates who are able to support them scaling up their idea as a financial partner, as an investor, but also as a production partner in order to build the products, in order to get them to the market.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it's fascinating area, and we clearly we'll look to work together on some of our events, and certainly get some of the companies involved in our network and in our congresses and World Hydrogen leaders. So we look forward to working together with you, Uwe, and thanks for taking the time out today to share some of your thoughts. It's been interesting to get perspective on an area which maybe sometimes doesn't get enough airing in terms of the need for innovation and you know the development of new technologies in the space. So yeah, many thanks, Uwe.
You're welcome, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity, and we really look forward to work together with you and your partners and members, because it's really important to address this topic of innovation, and I'm sure within this partnership we can do that together.
Excellent. Yeah, many thanks. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.